Hey, Erin and Jessica, can you hear me? And I'll share my screen.
Okay.
Give me a second. Okay.
So Mealy, you're going to start it off and go with it?
Yes, and I can start. And then Clara, I think you'll have to call the order for the meeting. So okay, it's 6:02 right now. Do we want to give a minute for people to join in, Clara? We had 50 people registered for this meeting today, and I'm like trying to find my
We have 22 now.
Yeah, we had 50 people registered. So maybe like let's give just a minute, and then we can just like kick off at 6:04.
So when you're ready, I'll welcome everybody, announce the meeting, and then you can explain
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
problems.
Yeah.
And Clara, we just have approval of the minutes from the last meeting too.
Right,
if you want.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll welcome people, do approval of the meetings minutes, and
Okay, sounds good. So it's 6:04 right now, so why don't we just get started? So Clara, do you want to start?
so Mealy, will you stop sharing your screen just while
Yes.
so I can take the
Yeah,
vote on the minutes? Thank you so much.
Yeah,
So welcome everybody to the second design review committee meeting for the redesign or the renovation of Griggs Park. We have a lot of things to go over this evening. I'm going to ask for the approval of the minutes that that the people on the committee should vote for. And I think everyone is here on our committee except for, did Stephanie come or she?
I don't see Stephanie yet.
Okay. All right. So I will ask for one of our members to make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting if they feel so inclined. Do I see?
I move that we accept the minutes from the last meeting. It's Carol.
Thank you, Carol. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Teresa Mooney, second that. Okay, and I'm gonna call people just as I see you or I don't see you on the screen. Teresa?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Jane? I know Jane is in her car. Can you vote, Jane? Your mic is off.
Yeah, mic is off. I'm sorry. I got thrown out of the Zoom and I don't know what the vote's on.
Oh, the vote is on the minutes. Do you approve the minutes?
I do approve the minutes. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and I just got, are you there?
I am here. Yes.
Okay.
But I put my camera off because I think I might bounce out again. So.
Oh, for some reason I just got bounced off, so I can't see anybody, but I'll keep calling the roll. Patricia Roberts, are you there?
Oh, I just like need to make her co-host. Patricia, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Yes, thank you. That worked. But I also can't put there's only my avatar. I can't put my photo up. It says you won't let me. There we go.
Oh, strange.
Okay, fine. Yes, I agree.
Oh, you vote. Okay, you vote yes. And Zora?
Yes.
Thank you. And I vote yes. So it's 6 yeses. Thank you very much. And I'm going to try to get back on the screen. I've been kicked off.
We can see you.
Okay, well, that's,
Yep.
let's see what happens here. All right, well, Mealy, do you want to continue and I'll just get back on?
Absolutely. Let me go back to sharing my screen. Are you all able to see my screen now?
Yes.
No,
Okay. No?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
no,
Fantastic. Okay. Again, thank
I
you so
don't know,
much. Yeah.
I can't see it immediately. I don't know whether it's because I'm on my phone or, what, but it's
Yeah,
not
it might
showing
be
up.
because you're on your phone, Carol. You might have to swipe left, because when you're on your phone, it's sometimes like when screen sharing does not show up
Oh, okay,
immediately. You might have to swipe left because Zoom will have like few windows.
slide left. Okay. Oh, I got it.
Okay, fantastic.
Great.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. This is, as Clara mentioned, our second design review committee for Griggs Park. And, it's been a really amazing and robust engagement process throughout last several weeks. We've received like so many feedback and received so many survey information. There were over 400 people participated in the survey, and it's just, again, like really amazing and wonderful to see how everyone is so engaged, and it just kind of clearly shows how well loved this park is. So very excited to be launching our second meeting. So today we have a full house packed agenda here. First off, we're going to go through some introduction slides, again, kind of reviewing some of the goals and priorities of the project timeline. And we really want to, again, remind everyone of, the existing conditions. So Erin is going to go through all of that, like existing conditions at the park right now. And we also want to spend a little bit of time today on talking about what we heard, right? Like what we heard from our last DRC meeting, the first meeting. And we also want to spend a little bit of time talking about the survey data. And once we get through all that, we would love to share a few preliminary concepts that Erin has put together. And again, it's not really detailed design, it's really meant to be this large block diagrams, really focused around the play elements, to be specific. And then at the end, we'll have ample time for public comments and discussions. And when we do get to the public comments, I just want to remind everyone that the typical process is that we first take the comments to the members of the design review committee, then it opens up to the members of the public. And when the members of the public, you would want to say something, please raise your hand and you'll get called upon. And when you do get called upon, please state your name and address. And we would, because we do have a robust participation tonight. Right now it's 29 participants, but 50 people had registered for the meeting. So we would really encourage people to keep their comments concise, around 2 minutes, and we would give you a warning when your 2 minutes is up. And by the end, if we've kind of gone through everyone's comments, and if you still have a comment, we could definitely go back to your comments, for the second time. So with that, again, we went through the design review process during our first meeting, so I won't dwell on this for too long, but just a quick reminder that our design review committee has 7 members. 4 of the members are from the Park and Rec Commission, and 3 members of public were appointed by the Parks and Rec Commission. And again, just reminding that I know there were so many people who were interested to be part of this DRC committee, and even if you're not on that committee, your voices are still going to be heard through your comments, through today's meeting, and through emails and any other future interactions. So once we've gone through the presentations and talked through the design kind of options, this committee really serves as an advisory body and publicly discuss all the proposed improvements and options for the park. And all the public comments and feedbacks are really taken into consideration by the committee, and the final plans that's going to be reviewed and voted by the DRC is going to be presented, and along with all the other options, the recommendations is going to be sent to the Park and Rec Commission, and they ultimately votes for the final plan. So as part of after our first DRC meeting, and also during the first DRC meeting, we received a lot of feedback on that and questions on why we are doing Griggs, and the fact that Griggs is already a great park, and people really wanted to see the park as it is, and we'll talk about that, get into that a little bit more later on. But I just want to remind everyone of what our capital improvement plan process is like. And typically, again, in all of our processes, we usually go through, well, not usually, always go through a really robust process and rigorous process on, what projects should be included in the CIP. And our landscape architects, including Aaron and Jesse, who are also certified playground safety inspectors, does a really thorough review every year of all our parks and playgrounds. And when they do the review, they're looking at the play equipment condition, its life cycle, and what are the conditions of our paths and amenities and other elements in the park, and more importantly, accessibility. Is the park universally accessible? Is it an inclusive park? So through that process, Griggs had been on the CIP plan since 2015. So it's been, and again, as you all know, most of you who knows the town process knows that it's a really long process, once you have the CIP, to finally get the funding. And I also want to remind that Griggs was constructed back in 1997, so it's really due for an upgrade. And again, like I mentioned, Aaron will talk through a little bit more in detail on what are the existing conditions and why we are here today. And part of the reason is also that, as we discussed last time, and we'll also talk through more today, is that there are many parts of Griggs which is not universally accessible. So really, again, the goal for us through this project, our priorities and goals is, number one, to make this park are universally accessible, all the entries and pathways, and make it an equitable and inclusive park for everyone, right? And making sure that all the playground equipments that's going to be in the park, because it is a fairly popular park among families and young kids, right? Making sure that the play equipments are safe and accessible. And third, we really understand that this is a special park, and all the features there, the wild features, the naturalistic character, the wetland, we want to celebrate that. We want to conserve the existing wetland, and we want to celebrate the existing willow trees and plant more, and think about the next generation of shade trees and planting there. And we also know that the drainage there is an issue, and our goal is to make sure we improve that existing drainage system and think about mitigating flooding and thinking about resiliency for future. And finally, we want to make sure that all the amenities at the park are upgraded to make sure that whatever we put in there provides the most flexibility and most use for all the different type of activities that goes on there. And finally, before I hand over to Aaron, I just want to touch base briefly on the timeline. So we're here, meeting number 2, early summer, and the next subsequent meetings is really going to be focused on, some alternatives around play equipment, which is going to be in September. Then in October, potentially we'll have another meeting to refine those alternate play equipments. And if needed, we would have another final design review meeting in January. And once, the DRC, as I mentioned, votes for an option, the recommendation is going to be presented to Park and Rec Commission, likely sometime this in spring of 2026. And once Park and Rec Commission votes, then we would get into the documentation. So with that, I want to give a big shout out to Aaron, who's been working very hard, over the last several weeks to put this presentation together. And Aaron, I'll let you take over.
Okay, and just so everybody knows, I'm sorry if I cut out. We had some technical issues. Town hall lost power, so I have come to the MSC, and the MSC and all other town buildings have lost internet. So I am currently using my cell phone as a hotspot. So we will see how it goes. Millie, since you're giving the presentation, should I just let you know when I want the next slide?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, you can go to the next. So this is just an overview from the first meeting, a slide from the first meeting. In case anybody's not familiar, Griggs Park, as you can see, is located kind of by St. Mark's Square, right off of Washington Street by the Brandon Hall MBTAC branch station, right off of Griggs Road. Next slide. This is just an overview of the existing site plan. So as you know, there's a loop path, there's a wetland in the middle, there's benches around it, and then there's a couple of play structures, 2 to 5, 5 to 12 play equipment, and net climber, and some swings. You can go to the next one. And then, so this is a tree inventory that I took with Pete Jutres, who is our current arborist with the town of Brookline. As you can, we assessed all the trees outside of the wetland area. As you can see, most trees are in good condition. There are a few trees that are in poor condition that, as part of this project, we would want to replace the trees specifically marked out in red with new trees so that they can grow and we keep a varied aging canopy. Next slide. So this is a storm sewer drainage diagram of Griggs. I did a little research because I know people asked about the center pipe. So as you can see, Griggs Park is shown in green. The pipe system is kind of shown in blue with the kind of purple dots. So I'm sure if you walk through Griggs, you're very familiar. You can see a lot of that. What this shows is that not only does the storm sewer in the middle take the drainage from the park, but it also takes some of the road from Griggs Terrace and some of actually behind a couple buildings behind Beacon Street. So there are a couple catch basins that are linked to the drainage system of that. And all of that drains out kind of this downstream or down on the plan and drains down into a larger storm sewer system at Washington Street, kind of by the condos, right where it links a little bit before park. We do have somebody that we will be bringing on board who will be at the next meeting for stormwater and civil engineering who will be able to, we're going to do some investigating and we'll have more thorough answers at the next meeting. Can go to the next slide.
I think, Aaron, there might be a little bit of a lag when I move my screen.
Gotcha.
When it comes to
Yep, and it just said my internet is unstable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh God.
So this is a diagram showing the current pathway conditions. As you can see in number 1, where that pipe goes, the path goes over the pipe. There's been a bunch of settling and it actually has created a tripping hazard. You can also see on the picture where it's actually so steep that lawnmower has like actually gouged into the bit conch. Number 2, the pathway at Griggs is quite narrow. Every time I visited, usually the path is heavily used. And as a result of that heavy use and the width, if you want to go around somebody, if you're going in an opposite direction, you have to leave the path. And as a result, you can kind of see on the left-hand side of them, due to the narrowness and the people passing, the cow paths have formed around the path on the edges. And then images 3 and 4. So in image number 3, the slope of the main entrance of the park is actually over 5%. So it is not universally accessible or ADA compliant. And then at entry number 4, the slope is also very steep, but in addition to that, there's also there's no ramp. As part of the project, we would be looking at relocating, making number 3 accessible trying to make number 4 accessible. It might be a little harder with the crosswalk with a ramp. Here's just an overview of the different play equipment. Yep, you can go.
Yeah, it's at the play equipment page right now.
Oh, I have pathway connection. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Um,
sorry, it's the lag.
So this is just an overview of the structures. And on the next slide, we will show enlarged images of the play equipment to really show the current condition of them. So on the swings, so all of the posts, one of the top rails did get replaced last year when a tree fell down. But as you can see in these blow up images, the posts are starting to rust out at the base and also at the connection points for all on both swing sets. Next slide. This is the 2 to 5 structure. This is just an enlargement showing that all of the coating on the step has worn away and it is rusted out and starting to chip. There's also a bunch of rust on the post. And on the 5 to 12, you can see here, again, all the posts are significantly rusting through at the base and up at the connection points. The net climber is in good shape and should last another 8 to 10 years. But all the other play equipment, as you can see, is at the end of its design life, and it's at the point where it does actually need to be replaced. Okay, so what we heard, so this is kind of a recap from both the first meeting, what we heard from everybody is that people really like the park the way it is. Everybody values the openness of the park and the naturalistic character of the park. The willow trees are very important to both the neighborhood and the identity of the park. People would like to see accessibility preserved, and especially that one entrance it was brought up where they would like to see the ramp added where there's currently not a ramp. Address drainage concerns and concerns with mosquitoes in the park. There is some conflicts with green dog at the park, but it is also well loved. The playground, we'd like to have shade at the playground, and that the playground is mostly used by younger children. And the other thing that we really got from this was the loop path is well used by walkers, bikers, and other park users. And then survey results. So we had very robust participation in the survey. We had 443 responses. The survey was distributed through a mailer, a QR code that I placed on signs throughout Griggs Park. It was advertised on town social media, including the DPW and Parks Instagram and SUFA signs. It was sent out to the school superintendent's newsletter, on the project's webpage, and as I said, through an abutter notification letter. So here's the survey results. Question 1. So 98% of people who responded to the survey said that they walk to Griggs Park. So almost everybody that responded to the survey is somebody who lives within walking distance of the park. So they're mostly neighbors. 3% of the people said they drove. A couple of people said they biked, and one person said that they took public transit. Survey results. So activities, we asked what do people typically participate in at Griggs Park. Biggest one was walking. Walking is very popular. 82% of respondents said that they walk at the park. 33% of park users said that they use the playground equipment. 25%, so a quarter, said they used the Green Dog program. 26% said they did family gatherings, and another 20% said they did include other ones. And as you can see on the right, the breakdown of that, the biggest things on the other category, 21 people said they like to sit. 19 people said they like to read in the park. 14 people said they like to picnic. 16 people go there for socializing. As you can see, nature, and then some social activities, biking, basketball, dog walking, and other. So the park is heavily used, especially by people who are doing a lot of passive recreation and walking. Okay, and then so a couple more. Question 3 we had, would you like to see a small off-leash dog park at Griggs Park that operates from dog to dusk? This one was a very split question. As you can see, 49.4% of people said they would not, and 50.60% said they would. So it's almost an even to even split. Regarding basketball, it was still a slight majority said no, 55%, and 45% said that they would like to see basketball at Griggs Park. Question 5, outdoor fitness equipment. Again, very evenly split. 52% of respondents said that they would like to see outdoor fitness equipment, and 48% said they would not. Number 6 was, would you like to see a covered picnic shelter? So 45% of 44% of respondents said they'd like to see a small shelter. 21% said they'd like to see a medium-sized shelter, and 35% said they'd like to see no shelter. But if you add the two shelter ones together, it's about 65% of people who responded. Number 7, this was, I think, the clearest answer. Would you like to see more naturalistic plantings at Griggs Park? 85% said yes, 15% said no. So that one was a pretty clear, like, if we're doing more planting, definitely more nature, more plants. Number 8, would you like to see the small children's playground fenced in separately from the rest of the park? This one was split with a small majority, 57% saying they would not like to see the fence around the kids' part of the park. 43% said they would. Question number 9, and this one was kind of insightful in that this really shows who uses the park. So what are the age ranges of children, if any, who accompany you at Griggs Park? 219 people said they come without children. So that is a large, as you can see, it's the largest column. But then the other big one is, I know in the first meeting everybody said play equipment is a lot heavily used by small children. The second largest category is people who come with kids ages 5 to 12, followed by the 2 to 5 and very little 0 to 2 kids and some teenagers. Play elements that you would like to see to reimagine Griggs Park. Swings was the #1 answer, pretty highly. Rope and net climber, which was voiced previously, is quite popular at the park. The current one, that is also fairly popular. So are slides. Sandbox and Imagine Play are fairly hot. The least popular idea was spinning elements. What style of play equipment? This one was also pretty clearly, when we're doing new play equipment, 58% of people said they'd like to see more natural looking play equipment. 33% said they'd like to see a combination, so some natural with maybe a little bit more modern elements, but only 9% of people said they wanted to see something like really modern and brightly colored. And the last one, what is your biggest conflict points? Drainage, by and far, was the largest thing that people have as an issue with Griggs. Green Dog was the second largest, but about half as many people responded to that. And then variety of play equipment, accessibility, and pathway width were lesser concerns. So question 13, do you have any additional comments? So this we got, I think it was about 200 people typed in comments. So I tried to go through them, and in the survey packet, all of them have been compiled. So if you want to see them, you can get them on the town's website, everybody's comments. But I tried to kind of put them into a few categories based on what they were saying, to see, to make it a little bit easier to digest instead of throwing 200 comments up on a screen. As you can see, keep natural and keep the park the same were the two largest pieces of feedback that we received. The third largest was that there were issues with off-leash dogs and conflicts with dogs or children and other park users. Other, which was kind of one where it was like either one thing was said by one person. There were a few of those. But then a lot of the other ones, it's kind of similar themes. Preserve the central wetland, 32 people. Add gates to the entrances, 13 people. 19 people fence in the dog area, 19 people fence in the dog area. Improve drainage in the middle, 24. Improve accessibility, only 6. Improve seating, 11. and Green Dogs is a valuable part 22. Okay, so with all of that information, these are very preliminary design concepts. So think of them as just more of like arranging items. It's really just how things are laid out in the park. So concept one would keep the existing net climber. I will note that has probably approximately about 10-year lifespan. And once it reaches end of life, we would remove it. The park probably, and then that piece would go away. We would not have this park come up on the CIP process again for probably another 20, 25 years. So if you were to keep it, there will be a time period where that piece will be removed from the park. This one, other than that, like it has 2 new play areas, an area with 5 to 12 big kid equipment and an area with 2 to 5 smaller kid equipment. Since swings were very popular and they take up a lot of room, I did notice, I just note the safety zone area for swings in kind of that orange, just so you can see the footprint of swings in relation to other play equipment. This one also replaces the basketball with outdoor fitness. The other big kind of design move is in that more active part of the park, I widened the path from the current 5 feet to 9 feet. And then where it's less heavily used, I did widen it, but only to 7 feet. Can go to the next one. The next one, kind of, so this one, the biggest difference is, so again, new play equipment. I combined all the swings on one side of the path, and then areas for 2 to 5 and 5 to 12 on the outside of the path to kind of try to get as much shade as possible. And then on this one, we did, instead of doing outdoor fitness, we added a small basketball area. So regarding basketball, I know there are currently 2 hoops here. A basketball court is very large. This is just showing a half court. I don't think, given the space constraints and everything, I don't think a full court would be a good idea unless somebody says otherwise. So I think if we were to do basketball, we'd look at maybe doing just a half court. And then concept 3, this one has the most change. So this one we took the perimeter, the main path, and pulled it away from the playground so that you could kind of separate the playground from the rest of the park. I have another slide that shows what my inspiration was, but on this one, we did add in a small pavilion and then kind of an area for 2 to 5 and 5 to 12, while keeping the perimeter path completely separate from the playground so that other park users aren't feeling like they're going through the playground. And then next slide. So we had a lot of comments. I've heard some at the last meeting that people really liked Emerson Garden and how they felt like it worked well, that there wasn't a lot of fencing, but that there was also there were fewer conflicts between Green Dog and other park users and children. So I took a little trip to Emerson, and this concept is kind of actually designed based on what is currently at Emerson. So if you look at the 2 images, the 3 images, Emerson is set off, the play equipment is set off from the main path and is divided by boulders, a 3-foot high kind of intermittent fence, and some benches that kind of, so it's part boulder, part planting, and part bench. So with this concept, I kind of took the same idea and broke up the fence by having, there's some benches in between the playground and the main path, and then some additional planting. Okay, next slide. And then for all of them, since it was asked, if we were to do a dog park, I think the best 2 areas would be those 2 areas that I showed, kind of 1 and 2. So currently, and number 1 is over by that other entrance off of Griggs. Those are the 2 areas where it's both separate from the play equipment, but there's also still large open areas that are not in the wetland. And then next slide. So this is again the concepts. So big thing, all of them together, the biggest takeaway points, each one. So concept 1 has the play equipment in layout in relation closest to what is currently there. Play equipment is located based on age group. So the 2 to 5 is with the 2 to 5 swings, the 5 to 12 is with the 5 to 12 swings. The basketball area is replaced with a small area for outdoor fitness. Concept 2, the play equipment is actually put on both sides of the path with the swings on the inside and the structures on the outside. Play equipment is located based on type. So swings are in one area and other structures are in another. And the basketball hoops are replaced with a small single half court, small paved court. Concept 3, which has the most changes, has the loop path shifted in the park in order to separate the playground from the rest of the park users. The playground is separated by a small intermittent fence, planting, benches, and boulders. And there is also a small two table pavilion in the play area. Next slide. So we're going to try an interactive survey. Amelia, would you let me here? I'm going to share my screen.
Erin, can I ask you a question about what's represented on there before we took the survey, so we make sure people aren't reading it wrong? Because you have colored, quite bright colors sort of in the playground area. Does that mean you've decided you're going to use port in place safety service, or is the surfacing undecided at this point?
The surfacing is undecided at this point. If we were to go with the wood fiber mulch, it is not a completely accessible surface. So if we were to do that, we would have to have rubber to certain pieces of the play equipment, the accessible swing, any kind of transfer platform on any structure. And that is required by guidelines because the fiber is no longer accessible. But I just put them in bright colors just so it shows up on the plan so you could read the area. Just because it's shown as bright blue does not mean it will be bright blue. It could be mulch with a small rubber path. It could be rubber, but that is for a future discussion. It was really just had to show areas.
Yes. Okay. I just wanted people to understand that. And then the other thing is you're not showing any play equipment, but you do show swings, traditional swings, as opposed to dish swings. And so, I mean, I just I'm curious why you decided to show swings and no other. I mean, we could have dish swings that service a lot of kids, right?
I showed the current footprints of the swings that are currently there. We could have a discussion with other kinds of swings, but I wanted people to see if you keep the same 2 base swing set and 1 base swing set, how much area that takes to have the proper safety zone. We could discuss different kinds of swings, additional swings, at a future meeting, and I can definitely present those when I present play equipment. Okay. But for this, I wanted it to be as apples to apples as possible, of like, you currently have this for swings minus the tire swing. This would be if you were to put those exact swings back.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question I wanted to ask about the 3 concepts for the children's area. Can I ask it now, Jane, or should Clara, or should I wait?
I mean, do you want to do the interactive thing first? I'm just afraid there's so many questions, but why don't you do the active
Well, the thing is that I don't know if the diagrams she showed us, are there any places for benches? The only one that seems to have a place where someone could sit is concept 3. So that certainly would influence what I felt.
So we could place benches around any of the play equipment, similar to what it is in the park and on the sides of the path. The reason I showed the benches more on concept 3 is because it's such an integral part to how you're separating the 2 areas. But we could easily add benches to any of them.
Okay, thanks.
And I also want to remind everyone that, like, while we are showing 3 concepts here, any ideas that you all like about these different concepts can be mixed and matched. So it's not exclusive that if you like concept 1, we just have to go with it, but there are different elements of it that we could integrate.
It seems we should have a discussion before asking people to vote, like, I have strong feelings about a basketball court and why we don't want that noise in this amphitheater shape. and it seems like that might not occur to people, but the neighbors would hear that. If you've ever lived next to a basketball court, you know what I mean. So it seems like maybe we should discuss a little and then vote, because people obviously do have questions.
So I guess, Aaron, is when we vote for different ones, or is the interaction, do you want a basketball court or do you want one about? So it's not site specific. So if you think we can do it
Yeah.
without discussion first, go ahead and try it. And
Yeah,
then,
so we could, so the way it's set up is first there was a rank them, but then there are like, are the things from one that you like from concept one, what's your favorite thing? Concept two, what's your favorite thing? Concept three, what's your favorite thing? Or things that you don't like. And then it's like, is there things in one concept that you would like to see in another? Or the things that you don't want to see? Are there things missing from all of the concepts? So it's very general questions that we're trying to meant to kind of trigger discussion. But we could definitely do some discussion first and then do that and then discuss again.
well, why don't you do the questions and then be willing to throw it all out based on the discussion?
That works for me.
Okay.
Okay, let me try sharing this.
And I know Scott and Andrew have their hands up, but let's do the interaction part first and then and then Stephanie too, so.
Yeah, we have 4 hands raised right now.
Yeah.
It's like there's one Q&A.
So this one, either if you're on your computer, you can either go to menti.com and just click in the 7737-7171. It'll just ask for a code. Or you can, if you have your cell phone with you, you can take a picture of the QR code.
What happens if you're on your cell phone and you can't use your computer because you don't have internet access, but you want to participate?
That, I did not think that exact scenario through. If you would give yours verbally, I will see if I can try to enter it.
Okay, all right.
I will try.
Yeah.
So again, this is just, so this one is a quick, just rank, like just gut reaction. Like, which one do you like the most?
Concept
Of them?
3.
Okay. We'll let this sit for a little bit.
Aaron, I've not done this before. Will you repeat how you get it on if you don't
Yep.
want to use your phone?
Yep. So go to www.menti.com.
Okay.
And then does it ask for a code?
Wait a minute. No, it says we're having trouble finding the site.
menti.com. Oh no. It is definitely working. It's interesting to see everybody's results come in though.
Okay.
So
What is
so
the-
far,
So what is the code?
7737 7171. It's also up at the top of the screen.
MTI.com?
Yep.
MEN.
And there's a question in the chat here from Naomi saying, I don't understand what is happening now with voting, what is being voted on. It seems premature for voting. The public needs to comment. And 100% we will have time to have discussions and comments. But as Aaron mentioned, this is really the first gut reaction, almost like a reflection of what Aaron just went through. And we will definitely have open time for comments. And as Clara mentioned, at the end of our discussion, we might completely throw away this survey.
We are trying something new.
Exactly.
So I think a lot of people have answered. As you can see, first place was concept 3, which was the one where we separated the play equipment. Second place was concept 1, which is very much what is currently there. And in third place was concept 2, where we separated the swings from the other play equipment by the path. Okay, and then this one, it's a question just about concept 1, is what things do you like about concept 1, knowing that these could be in any concept. So if you like the play elements grouped by age, if you like the way that the play equipment is laid out around the loop path, if you like keeping the existing net climber, if you like that this one has a sandbox, this is just kind of, you can pick up for up to 3 of the 4 things.
That's the 4 things. Okay, Erin, here are mine. It's Carol. Sandbox, net climber.
So you like that it has a sandbox and a net climber? Got it.
And group by age.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's try the next one. So this one is the same kind of question, only with concept 2. Do you like that there's a half court basketball? Do you like the way that the play equipment, this one is laid out where the swings are in one area and the other structures in another area by activity? Really the biggest difference on this one is, do you like that there's basketball?
Play equipment, group by activity.
Okay. Okay, and we can see this one, that was as it comes in, I think group by activity is the #1 takeaway. The smallest one was the half court basketball. And then we'll do same thing for number 3. Do you like do you like how this one, what are the things you like most about this? Do you like the player is separate? Do you like that it is once again grouped by, the play equipment's grouped by age? Do you like the intermittent fencing? And do you like the pavilion? Knowing that, again, like, especially for like the play equipment grouping and a pavilion or anything like that, that could be added to any concept in the future or omitted from this one.
Erin, just a quick note, this one's only letting you vote
Do
for
one.
Oh. Thank you
Doesn't
for
let
letting me know.
vote at all.
These are just really for just kind of discussion to gauge, but yes, thank you for letting me know.
Okay, play equipment separated from path. And I think the last one, what is the last one? It's hard to see on here.
Pavilion with picnic tables. You like that it
Oh,
has a
pavilion with picnic tables. Okay.
Yeah, that one I couldn't actually see because the Zoom meeting was covering it up. And then this one is kind of a question about what in the current design of the park would you like to see in the new park. So this is the playground location, the 3 different kinds of swing sets. Would you like to see sandbox or would you like to see basketball? So this could be any concept at all. What elements of the current park do you really, really think are important?
Okay, Erin, I like 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. So in this one, we can see swing sets, #1 thing.
But that's age 5. Oh yeah, 5 to 12.
And then here's kind of a big one. That was 50-50 in the survey. Would you like to see an off-leash fenced-in dog area? Which again, if you remember from the survey results, was 50-50.
Yes. Erin, mine's yes.
Okay, so it's a less split here, but it's currently 14 no and 5 yes. And follow-up question to that, and this again, when we do public discussion, we can talk about this as much as needed. This one is if you had to have an off-leash dog area, or if there was one, which of the two locations do you prefer? Location 1 being location 2 being by the main entrance as it currently is, and location 1 being kind of off to the side, the more northern side of the other entrance off of Griggs.
Two.
2? Okay. So it looks like on this one, 2 is it's about 2/3, 1/3, location 1 or location 2. And this one's an open-ended question where you can kind of type. We'll see if this works. So is there anything missing in any of the concepts that you would like to see explored at the next meeting? So is there something that was missed in any of these concepts that you'd like to see in a future concept? So you can type it in, and then people can also vote on their other comment. And we'll see if this one actually works. This one may not work.
I cannot type anywhere.
Yeah, this one, it was giving me a little. We will omit this one. And that was it.
All right.
So, Mealy, I will let you bring back up the presentation. I think then it just basically goes into discussion.
Yes, let me go back to sharing my screen. So Clara, we have currently several hands raised. So I think the best way to do this could be maybe if you and if other DRC members want to go through their comments, then we could, open up for public discussion. Would that work?
So we'll get the people who are on the officially on the committee will talk first, and then we'll get the people who are here to be heard but not officially on the committee. So that seems, if that's good with you.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna start as I see you on the screen, going first with the committee members, and I see Stephanie's hand is the first one I see who's a member of the committee. So Stephanie, do you want to make your comments?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for the presentation. And I appreciate the survey results. I think my biggest comment looking or hearing through the concepts is that I'd like to see us first kind of determining what is the spatial strategy for the design. It's very much focused on the play area. So is the strategy to have, the existing circulation and then to have play elements kind of coming off of that major circulation path, which is what concept 1 and concept 2 are doing. They're, to me, this kind of same concept, just different program elements. So I think we should separate out what are the kind of programmed elements, which could be basketball court, adult play equipment, swings, etc., from the spatial strategy. Concept 3 is very different in that it's looking at creating another path, a major pathway, which then creates less conflict between the children's play area with, the dogs, people walking their dogs, etc. And that, I really did prefer concept 3. It seemed like that would really help with, I think, resolving a lot of the issues with it. It seems pretty evenly divided about off-leash dogs, and a lot of that is, if we can create the kind of minimize those conflicts, but also like thinking through, like, are there other things we can do, like signage, etc., that makes it clear that, like, people shouldn't have their dogs off leash during certain hours, etc. The other thing I would like to see is this is very much focused on the design of the current play area. I'd love to see, thinking through, like, are there things that we can, if we're thinking about imaginative play, which seemed really strong in the survey results, imaginative play elements that engages the wooded area, the wetland area, like a boardwalk or like a magical door, etc. That could bring play into that magical area. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that kind of thinking. Thank you.
Stephanie, you just muted yourself. Does that mean you're through?
Oh, yes, I'm through. Sorry. So
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm looking for Patricia, who's also on the committee. Would you like to go next?
Sure. I just want to say I was very encouraged by the survey, how many people responded, and the fact that so many people appreciated the way it is. And I think that just supports the concept of not adding so many amenities that it just gets to be a very crowded space that doesn't leave room for people to sit on a blanket and read, or to sit in the benches and just enjoy the nature. Also, a group of us, as you know, went to Emerson Park, and we all kind of agreed that, I think, Len, as the chair of the Griggs Park Neighborhood Association, was with us, and we just liked the way, as Erin showed, that they were using small fences and benches to separate off the play area. And the feeling was it did keep the dogs away, which seems to be such a concern. And that, to me, seems a better way to address the dog problem than to take away one of the areas that Erin outlined as a possibility for a dog park, because it would have to be a decent size and would take a lot of space away from other users. So that's kind of why I supported concept 3. And I think the amount of equipment that he is proposing is a good amount. Getting much more, I think, really will detract from the park. That's it.
Thanks, Patricia. Zora, you want to go next?
Yes. So I appreciate all the work you've done for all these designs. I am joining. I would like to second what Stephanie says. I think I am mostly driven by the design right now. So I voted for number 3, but I did vote for it because the playground is kind of as one unit, and there is the path that goes around it. I am a little bit confused why to keep the path going through the playground. So I think that might lead to conflict again between people that walk their dogs or let their dogs run in the play structure, the children. I was also wondering about the design. Maybe could we keep the path as it is, but move the entire playground between the path and the center of the park, where the trees are, where the wetland area is. Would there be space for that?
Zora, do you
This
mean?
is my major concern. Sorry.
Sorry, where did you mean, Zora? Like move the playground to the center?
I
Just
think
want to
I
fully
understood
understand.
it. I think
Okay.
kind of like where if you look in concept one, where the net structure is kind of moving all the play equipment to
Like
that
all the
side of the
things.
existing
Okay.
path.
Got it. Got it.
We can definitely look into that. We will want to be cognizant of just especially since that's lower, that may have a little more drainage issues.
Okay.
I know we will be addressing them, but I could look into see definitely because we will come back with revised concepts. I could definitely take a look at seeing how that would work.
Mhm. So definitely, if it's for design 3 right now, so the what most important for me is that the path does not cut through the playground, that it goes around it. And I like the way you separate it from the path with the benches and maybe a little bit short fence in bushes.
Yep. So I will say the reason why there's the smaller path through is because you do have to keep the accessible route open. So it's easier when we have things on both sides of a path, it's easier to do that. Otherwise, you'd have to go through with either a rubber or another surface to make sure that you're hitting swings, or it'd have to be a much more linear design.
Aaron, it reads as such a strong path. I think that's part of the problem. Once you get that area designed,
Yeah,
because if you're walking along, you just want to go straight. I think you
straight
have to
around it.
visually make it less obvious if you're just walking and not with children. If you're walking and not with children, you'd want to go to
Yeah.
the outside, and it doesn't read that way now.
Yep, noted.
So thank you, Zora. So Jane has her hand up.
Hi, thank you, Aaron. Thank you so much for these 3 concepts because given the feedback that I heard from the last meeting, it really does seem like you integrated what people were saying into these, and really preserving the space as the natural space that it is seems to be such a priority. And I see that in all of the concepts. And I did not vote because I'm not a regular user of this park, and I do want to hear from the community. But one of the things that I didn't really hear in the survey, and you do have it in design concept 1, the outdoor fitness equipment. So I feel like I have a good sense of how people feel about a half court of basketball. It didn't seem to be so popular, but I'm not so sure that I really got to hear what people thought of the outdoor fitness equipment being integrated into the park. And that wasn't a specific, if it was a specific question, I must have missed it. So I just wanted to raise that as a question because I would love to know what people think about that. Because I do think that's kind of an all ages thing, and it might be something that's quite popular. And Carol actually asked the question I had about benches. So I feel like I have a good sense of those things. But I do want to say thank you for these very attentive designs to what the community seems to have been saying that they wanted. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Jane. So I'm going to go on to Carol now.
Can I just ask if
Oh.
Aaron can answer that question I had about the outdoor fitness? Like, do we have?
Yeah, that one
Sorry.
was missed on the survey.
Okay.
So when
It
people give
was missed.
feedback,
Okay.
I would
Okay.
like to hear if you
All right.
want it, yes or no.
That's exactly where I am. So thank you. I was like, did I miss it or did it? I'm not going to ask. Thank you for that. All right. Thank you. Go ahead, Clara. I'm sorry.
Sorry. I thought it was somewhat of a rhetorical question, but I'm glad Aaron answered it. Sorry to cut you off. Okay, and then I think also with her hand up was from the committee was Carol. Is that correct, Carol?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I'm very much impressed with concept 3 for a number of reasons. One is I like the idea that there's this loop that's going to go around, continuing the circular path, but a special path through the children's play area. I think that may help to alleviate the dog situation that people are always worried about. And that looked like a good idea to me. And then, you know, if that worked, then you wouldn't need to have any fencing anywhere for the dogs. The other thing that I'm very hot on is the sandbox. And I only saw the sandbox in concept 1. I would very much hope that the sandbox could be included in concept 3. And as I mentioned previously, I think benches for people to sit while their kids are using the playground is essential.
Okay, and then just Teresa and I are the 2 people left from the committee. Teresa, do you have anything to add? I don't see your hand up.
Sure. Yeah, no, my hand is not up. I appreciate those comments that were just made by Carol. I have a lot of similar feelings, actually. Concept 3 did really stick out to me, and it's what I voted for. And I really love that you're polling from Emerson Garden, because I would agree so much with your statement, Erin, that it is such a nice blend of an open green dog space with a successful children's play area. So I think that it would be really nice to pull concepts from that park and incorporate it here at Griggs. And then similarly, I really like the idea of having the sandbox maintained. So if we did move forward with concept 3, making sure there was a space for that in the play area. But aside from that, I just appreciate all the comments that have been shared tonight and look forward to further discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. So I'd like to make a few comments. It seems like Erin, what you hoped to get from us was how do we want the play equipment arranged? And I agree with Stephanie that you haven't given us sort of concepts for how the path going through the space will really function. You know, will there be benches that are like in little groups, or they're just scattered throughout, or are people going to be encouraged to go into the center in any way? And I was also, you put all activities near the play equipment, but you know, I know some people ask for a medium-sized shelter, some people ask for a small, but would there be a need to have a shelter sort of in a different part of the park that would still look quite natural and fit in with this open lawn concept, but maybe people without children who didn't want to be you know, didn't want to supervise children, would like to be somewhere else in the park with some shade and some, you know, so would we have a shelter elsewhere? So I just think, you know, it's nice to have come to sort of everybody seems to want the play equipment as in number 3, but in terms of shelters and benches and paths and inviting people into the center area, I don't think we've really discussed that. That's my comment. And Stephanie has her hand up again. So Stephanie, you have a quick comment? Because I think we have to open it up to other people too.
Thanks. I do have a quick comment that part of the beauty of Emerson is how it works within the existing like mature trees and the topography. And we have quite a slope on that side with the play area. I think that's an opportunity to engage in that embankment. And so I right now, like we just see kind of patches of area that might be flat. So we'll love to see an engagement in that way. And that, you know, I think it was mentioned before, but I feel like concepts, you know, thinking about specific programming that people would want, that there's always opportunity to add those, you know, along the sides of the path. But I think that the idea with concept 3 is really this kind of consolidated play area and having the main path go around. And one more note about the path that goes through the play area, that could be a different material like stone dust. So that would help differentiate it from the main
good idea.
path. And it also doesn't need to do a loop. It can be something that's a little bit more, you know, inward, and that main path can have more of a shape that seems more like it's part of that main circulation. So it doesn't need, you know, right now kind of everything matches the existing circulation path, and just thinking like there's room there to, you know, rethink that.
It could be circuitous because you're not encouraging people to go through quickly. So you could really meander through that space in an accessible path. So I agree with Stephanie there. So I'm going to call on Erin. Do you want to respond to any of the comments so far, or do you want to hear from the
I
people?
think, yeah, I mean, all this is really good feedback. And so I think whichever way we go, the next meeting, you'll have completely different concepts that probably riff on a similar theme to show more of those elements that you've brought out.
Okay, so I'm going to start calling on people who patiently had their hands up. So Andrew Shallot, if you could unmute yourself. Andrew, are you there? You're muted. Okay, we don't have. I'm going to come back to Andrew because I'm not getting any response. Scott? Anayan, are you there? Ask to unmute. Does someone have to unmute these people?
Oh, I apologize. Yes.
Okay, let's go back to Andrew because he's
Andrew, yes. I am. Okay, Andrew, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
oh
Great.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
please state your name and address
Yeah.
and keep your
My name
comments, if you could,
is
to 2 to 3 minutes.
Sure. My name is Andrew Shallett. I live at 14 Griggs Terrace, directly on the park. I have lived here for close to 20 years and raised 2 small children, working part-time, spending a lot of time with them in the park. First, a specific point in the survey in terms of the park usage, the age of children who use the park. Most of the children who use the park are brought there by daycares. And so and the people who bring the kids there are daycare workers who aren't residents of Brookline, so they probably didn't respond to the survey. So I suggest you ignore the survey results when you consider the age of children playing in the park. It may be true on weekends, but it really, as the comments were in the last meeting, it really is mostly young children. I have to say I'm disappointed with what I've seen so far today. It feels like the discussion that happened at the last meeting where there was unanimity in the residents, among the residents, that they didn't want big changes to the park, that they loved the park as it was, and that questioning why this work was even necessary, it feels like that's been ignored, and that it's someone's job to design a bunch of fun new stuff, and it's some other people's job to like pick among these options, and that is moving ahead despite the feedback from the community that we didn't want that to happen. So I'm really struggling to understand how that occurred. I agree with Stephanie's concepts that it's really premature to be looking at these playground designs without considering the sort of overall flow of the park and the different rooms, as I believe Sherry Gata said. I'm disappointed in seeing designs that pave over additional parts of the park. I think there's a misunderstanding of what the playground area is and expanding the playground area. The playground area doesn't currently really go on both sides of the park. The playground is on one side and the webbing structure is sort of its own thing. I'm skeptical that it will make any difference in the dogs changing the route of the path. I think some of these misunderstandings may go back to the fact that no abutters were chosen to participate in the design review committee, despite the fact that probably half a dozen abutters applied. So just put me down as disappointed with what I've seen so far.
Thank you. So we're going to go on to, that was Andrew, and now we're going to go on to Scott. So Scott needs to be unmuted, Mealy, by you, I think.
Yes. Scott, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Yes, I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes. Please state your name and address, please.
C. Scott Nanian, 103 Griggs Road, just down the street from the park. I was just curious about all three concepts mentioned a curb cut on the southwest corner of the park, and I was curious to know more about that. That is very steep, and I'm wondering, because it doesn't say it's an accessible entrance, if the decision has been made to leave that steep and so have a curb cut but make it not accessible. I'm just speculating though, so I guess what I'd really like is just a little bit of discussion about what the plans for that southwest corner are.
Yep. So there was a request to put in a curb cut there at the last meeting by a couple of people, and I did take a look at the grades. To make that entrance accessible, you'd have to remove probably 5 or 6 trees just because of the slope and start switching back just because it is so steep. Or you'd have to dramatically relocate the path on the other one to give it more room to run out. So kind of as a compromise, I showed the ramp idea so that you could get a stroller in there, but it would not meet accessibility guidelines of being under 5% without a lot of earthwork. But we could also have a discussion if maybe we don't want that or leave the curb cut the way it is.
I think I'm actually fine with that, but I would suggest that it be put on the sort of agenda for more explicit discussion. Thanks.
Thank you. So the next hand raised is John Hebert, and he needs to be unmuted.
John, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Hi, thank you for letting me participate. I'm John Hebert, 21 Auburn Street. I'm also, just for the record, a town meeting member, but I am commenting just for my own personal purposes. I want to echo comments about the importance of the simplicity of this park. I doubt that there would be many people who would be upset if the park were just refreshed and updated from where it was. I understand the need for new equipment and rust and so on. But the main thing that I want to point out and lobby for is something that I've lobbied for before, and I'll do it again. And that is that I would like there to be an opportunity for adults to have some exercise when they're at a park. And I am not lobbying for anything grand as was shown in the original concept. I'm lobbying for a simple 4-bar pull-up station that would probably have a footprint of maybe 50 square feet. It's tiny. And it could be added to any of these designs. It would not have to be, in fact, it could be just about anywhere in the park. You have to note that all of the playground equipment at Griggs, and I think most of the parks in Brookline, are for children. And why not have 1 or 2 simple exercise stations for us adults? My wife Barbara supplied an image a couple of months ago when we started this process, and it was such a high resolution image that the only thing that showed in it was tree branches and did not actually show the exercise equipment that we're using as reference, which is at Jamaica Pond. And that exercise state, or that pull-up bar station, has 4 different height bars, one of which is quite high and only can be accessed by adults, and that is actually low enough for reasonably young children, maybe of the age of 7 or 8 years and up, or certainly 10 years and up. I'm being told my internet connection is unstable, so hopefully you can still hear me. But these bars can accommodate adults and children, and they can be placed anywhere. So I'm certainly hoping that you will consider them. I also was unable in the early going in the survey through the not the barcode, whatever that thing is called. I was unable to add my vote to there being exercise equipment, but the kind that I'm talking about is extremely simple. So I just want you to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, John. The next person that I see with their hands raised up is Catherine, and they don't show me your full last name. It starts Gerg. And you need to unmute Catherine.
Hi, thank you so much for this discussion. My name is Catherine Gergen Barnett, and I'm 22 Griggs Terrace, right down the street from Andrew. In fact, I'm walking my dog right now in the park, and it's in our front yard. I would highly agree that Griggs is an extraordinarily special place, and very much wanting to preserve as much of the integrity as possible. I will also say that we're a family with 3 kids, and so we've seen, you know, many kids kind of be raised here. I do love the idea of the Emerson kind of rocks and stones so that families with kids who have fear of dogs, you know, can feel safe. Although I will say that I have seen very good behavior between dogs and the children. I feel very strongly as a dog owner, and I know many other people feel this way, even despite your survey showing some mixed results, that any kind of fence to fence the dogs in, I think, in my opinion, would be a massive mistake, both for the beauty of the park and for whatever problem you're trying to fix. So I would highly underscore the importance of just, you know, making sure that families with children feel safe. You know, again, I don't think they're unsafe, but creating some sort of beautiful barriers and not erecting any fences at all. We have too many fences in our world, and so please don't put more fences into Griggs Park.
Thank you. The next person with their hands up, the hand up is Mir, M-I-R, and C, the initial C is what I see on your screen.
Hi, my name is actually Amadeo. It doesn't line up with the name of the computer. I live at 100 Marion Street. So I definitely want to echo what everybody else is saying. I definitely prefer less asphalt, less fencing, more natural. One thing I really, really liked is a park in a little bit further away on Fisher Avenue. And what they've done is they've kind of allowed a section of the park kind of to grow and become overgrown. I don't know if that's considered a pollinator garden. I think we talked about this last time, but it's really, really nice. You're basically just walking amongst kind of wildflowers and wild grasses, things like that. That could be a really cool way to separate the center from maybe parts of the park where we don't want kind of intermingling with the middle part, or even creating the boardwalk going through the middle and mixing that with some of this kind of wild growth. It's definitely something that I think would look really nice. If anybody has the opportunity to go to Fisher Avenue and walk through this kind of microforest, it's very, very nice. And it kind of furthers this kind of a notion of being nice for, you know, the local flora and the fauna, bees, all this kind of stuff. Anyways, that's something that I would highly would love to see, something like that in the park, and then just keeping it as natural as possible. You know, minimizing asphalt, minimizing fencing. You know, kind of keeping that as minimal as possible to keep it as natural as we can. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next person on the screen I see is Naomi Schweitzer. You need to unmute Naomi so she can unmute herself. There you go.
Thanks, everyone. And thank you for the members of the committee and the town staff who work so hard on this and bringing us all together. I just want to echo what some commenters have already said, and also I think in particular committee member Patricia Roberts, and what I'm seeing in the survey results of keeping the park as natural as possible, and keep all the things that we love about it, and really think of this more of as a refresh and not a redo. And I forgot to say I live on Griggs Terrace. And there are so few places that we have in Brookline that are truly open spaces. And it is amazing how this very small park gives such a sense of openness and wildness to all ages and to dogs, and to mostly peacefully coexist with each other as it currently is. And having the wetlands in the middle sort of provide a natural way of dividing the park, as we've talked about before, into sort of spaces or rooms, without needing to have fences or asphalt. So really, fixing the accessibility, fixing the path, fixing the drainage, upgrading and changing the play equipment that is rusting and old and keeping it natural looking. But really the overall theme of like, don't break something that isn't broken. This park is just beloved, like for 95% of how it is right now. And I would just say one thing that I will throw in that I feel very strongly about, and other neighbors have talked to me, many neighbors have talked to me about, is please, no more fencing. No fenced in dog area, no fencing in of the children, like not even a partial fence, no more fencing. We have so little open space where kids and dogs and grown-ups can look and have sight lines and wander, that to lose that and to create maybe unintended consequences that we would be having to live with for a long time would not be good. I do hear that there's some conflict sometimes between maybe some families with small children and dogs. And so if there is any separating, please using natural elements, no fencing, and porous so that the children can still move around without having to open a gate or ask permission from their parents or caregiver to go from one play structure to another. And as a caregiver, being able to have sight lines to the middle of the park where a lot of the kids love to go for imaginative play, and to be able to watch that area safely, where there is water and wetlands, and we do need to keep an eye on our kids during the time of the year when there's water there. So again, thank you for all the work. Please keep the park as much as you can the same. Just improve it with accessibility, drainage, and better plantings. And look forward to the rest of the process.
Thank you. Next is Susan Molsky. We need to unmute her so she can unmute herself.
All set.
Susan, go ahead.
Hi, thank you very much for allowing us to have these comments on this for this meeting tonight. I just had some questions about the path suggestion. Is it true that it would be 9 feet at one section? That's an awful large path needed. And what's special and what most people noted in the survey was that they walk around the park. It really is a walking path. And if the path is expanded to be 9 feet, that seems more like a roadway and loses a little bit of that pastoral quality of Griggs Park by making the path too big. So I think this also reiterates the comments previous people have mentioned that the least amount of paved areas is better. Right? What we love about Griggs is its green space and its openness. So no fences, no more additional paving, and some other thing that was mentioned about this outdoor fitness equipment. What exactly is that? Maybe that answers the person's question that was looking for equipment that adults could use. I live at 81 Griggs Road in Brookline, down the street from the park. And many years ago, we had a fire truck in there that seemed to solve that person's problem that was looking for a bar for adults to use. We previously had such an item in the park that was removed when they did the last renovation. And that's it. I just appreciate you doing this, but I also am a little concerned with the process. We've had 30 some odd people tonight give their opinions. I don't know if that's a representative sample, to be able to give you any guidance on what people really want for the park and what is needed in the park. All right, so thank you.
Thank you, Susan. The next person with their hand raised that I see is John Bowman.
John, you should be able to unmute. There you go.
Thank you. John Bowman. I live at 80 Park Street, which directly abuts the park. First, I want to mention a correction that I think should be made. It was said that there are no direct abutters on the design review committee, but Zora Kakinas is also a resident of 80 Park Street and a direct abutter. Beyond that, first I would echo the comments of Naomi Schweitzer. And along that line, one thing that I think would like the designers and the decision makers to consider is make sure that the design lets and even encourages seniors to interact with children, doesn't separate them unnaturally. The other thing I want to mention is the net climber. It seems to be popular from my observation and from looking at the results of the survey. And if something like option 3, excuse me, is chosen, is there a way to include the net climber in option 3? And if option 1 is taken, it just seems unreasonable to me to say that if we want a net climber long term, we have to replace it now, even though it's got 10 years of useful life left in it. It seems like the town should have more flexibility than that and be able to make a small replacement when the replacement is really needed rather than now when it's not needed. Thank you.
Thanks, John. The next person I see with their hand up is Connor Sheehan. Connor?
Connor, you should be able to unmute
Sorry about
yourself.
that. My arm isn't a thing, which is slowing me down a little bit. Connor Sheehan. I live on Washington Street and am a town meeting member. I guess my biggest question is I want to understand what priorities this committee is trying to focus on. If you go back to the slide around who is doing what in the park, could you flip back to that really quick?
Okay,
It was
Connor,
like way at the beginning.
You mean the DRC process?
No. The one that had the different activities that people do and the percentage of those activities.
Got it. Hold on. On the survey result, right? I think this. Okay, this is the.
Yeah, there was one that had the walking on there as the primary thing that everyone's doing.
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's question.
This is it right here.
Yeah.
What I want to note is that the vast majority of people using the park are not there with children, but the vast majority of the time spent in this meeting has been focused on playground equipment. I don't really understand that. I don't understand why we're not talking more about walking, not talking more about sitting and picnicking and socializing. I would love to see in any of the options that we present, how much green space are we losing? How much grass are we sacrificing by widening the path, by moving equipment, by adding large bushes or fences or benches in areas where people currently today spend time taking in sun, sitting in the shade, just reading a book. I would just love to see this as a much more holistic process as opposed to just a focus on how do we get small children to play. They're already playing. It's already happening. They will play on anything in that park, including all of the trees and in the little pond area. So I guess I would echo everyone else in like, let's keep this as similar to today as we can. And I would love to have this just be a more holistic presentation next time on how we accommodate the vast majority of needs of multiple people.
Thank you. The next person is Michael Meyerowitz.
Yes, hi. Looks like you can't really see me. Get rid of the video. I would like to also echo Andrew and Naomi's comments that you do seem to have discounted the many of us who believe the park should be kept as close to what it is as currently. In other words, I think that the majority of us, at least who use the park every day, I'm at 81 Griggs Road, and I use the park every single day with my dog. And the majority of us who use the park every day, I think, do not want additional fencing, and we do not want a basketball court. And I agree with Susan that a 9-foot path is too wide for this park. When this came up in 1997, when the park was last redone, that mesh that was put around the inside of the path was placed there so that the maintenance trucks could ride around the park. But at that time, again, most of us did not want a wide path. 9 foot is definitely too wide for that path. In addition, I don't think most of us want a built shelter. If you want more shade, have shade out of trees. We don't want additional buildings in that park. I think that really we want the park to stay as close as possible as is. The last point I want to make was that concept 3, that path going around the inside of the playground area, that I think will be wet when it's that part of the park gets flooded. So I don't know if you can actually do that. Anyway, thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Michael. The next one is Maya Shambrasi, excuse me. Maya?
Hi, Shabrasi. Yeah. So yeah, I live on 116 Park Street, so pretty close. I agree with, I forget who might have said it before, but I agree about the imaginative play, about with the kind of like wetland area and the trees and everything. I put this in the chat, but I think it'd be kind of cool and also help with those sight lines mentioned to put like maybe a small elevated boardwalk through it, so that people could actually kind of enjoy the shade and the trees. I think I saw something kind of similar. I don't know the name of the park, but it has like a really large soccer field, but it also has this kind of side boardwalk thing. I think it's by Chestnut Hill. And then but I too agree that like not everyone has kids. In fact, the majority, according to the survey. And obviously a lot of people have dogs as well. So again, as I mentioned in the chat, that I do think that having some sort of, with not necessarily a fence, but whether through separating the path or having some sort of natural barrier, so that it is easier for people walking their dogs or off-leash dogs to not go through the path of the children, especially when the playground is kind of on both sides. I personally have had experience walking dogs through there, and you know, children don't always know how to behave around dogs and may just run up to them, and it kind of is for dogs that are very nervous. You know, that can be a really bad situation, and you know, I can only control a dog so much, you know, so it's also up to parents as well. And I would also say in terms of dog and dogs, it's also up to the dog parents as well. Some people don't really pay attention to their dogs. In terms of someone said about daycare, the daycare folks coming in, I feel like that is a good reason to have some sort of picnic pavilion sort of thing, just so that, you know, they can have activities. I know as a kid, I liked going to summer camps or whatever, where you could, you know, do crafts on a picnic table or something, or, you know, have a snack without having to be in the dirty, like, playground area. Also, sorry, I had some notes here. In terms of widening the path, I have mixed feelings on this. Obviously, there's it would involve more paving. However, I am a big proponent of accessibility, and so I think it would be important to be able to have 2 strollers or wheelchairs be able to pass in both directions. Potential thought would be maybe there's a gravel path next to the concrete path. So for people who are able-bodied, if there is somebody with a stroller or a wheelchair on the paved part, they could walk along the side, but at least it's not just like some patch of muddy grass. And then my last is actually kind of a question. So as I mentioned, I live on Park Street. So, I usually get to the park through the Marion Path, and I was just curious if that was kind of part of this at all. Thanks.
Aaron, do you want to answer the question about the Marion Path?
Sure. So that would have to be a separate project. When this was done through CIP, it is just for the park, and Marion Path is not part of the park. So I think that would have to come through a different process to have that budgeted.
But that pathway is staying, correct? We're not closing it.
Yeah, we are not closing it. We are not, it is not part of this project to even look at that path.
Okay. So the next person is Cricket Clayton. Will you enable?
Yes, Cricket, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Hello. First of all, thank you all for setting this up. I did want to share that, first of all, I echo everything that Connor Sheehan said. I am also concerned that we are over-indexing in this conversation on the children's play equipment over the other uses of the park. And I think that's a really important piece to making sure that we are not closing off any more space and reducing that open feel. I'm also quite concerned about the 9 or 7 foot path. I think it'd be really helpful to understand where that sort of spec is coming from. I think that I just pulled out a tape measure and it sort of went across my dining room. And it surprised me at how wide that was. And as I envision that in the park, I see it taking up quite a bit of that green space that we really love. I am in full support of accessibility, but I would like to see how we can maybe find some middle ground to maintain some of that green space. I'd also just like to put out that I am in strong opposition to a fenced-in dog park. I don't think that it aligns with anything that we've heard from the community. I know you have some of the surveys results, but from conversations that I've had and from people expressing the way that we want the park to feel, a fenced-in park would really dramatically change that. And so park option 1 is the most aligned with that consensus, that keeping the park as close to how it is as possible. In addition to that, while I am strongly opposed, I would like to understand the implications of the decisions that are being made and get some clarification as to if there was a fenced-in dog park included, would that mean an end to the Green Dog program at Griggs Park? I think I'd really like to understand that.
Yeah, certainly. I think that's definitely a good question and something we'd have to consider if we were to go through that route of creating a fenced-in space for dogs. But we'll definitely look into that.
Thank you, Cricket. So the next hand is Diana Miller.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I live at 46 Gardner Road and I come at least 3 or 4 times a week with a little one and sometimes on my own. And I want to echo what Naomi Schweitzer said. I love the intergenerational and interspecies encounters, although I have had a couple challenging dog encounters, but I still don't want a fence. I love how there's places to wander, places to be solo, places to be together with people. I love that there's benches. I would like as little asphalt as possible. And I definitely also think that 9 feet is too big of an area. I can understand how people who abut the park wouldn't want a basketball court. I have no real need for one, but I actually appreciate that right now it's like overgrown grass and it just feels very old school in a way that I like. It's nothing special, so I don't mind it there right now. I do feel like there should continue to be kind of clear rules and boundaries and covenants around dogs and others. I don't have a dog, but mostly I just don't want the park to lose the pastoral kind of magical quality that it is. And I am open to something like Boardwalk in the wetlands, because that still feels kind of like a natural addition. But I would be very much not in favor of fences and more asphalt, but to kind of update it safely, put a few more things in and keep it basically what it is. And thank you so much for everyone who's on the committee and the architect and everyone who's doing all this work. Thank you.
Thanks, Diana. Okay, we have Stephanie has her hand up, who's on the committee. Stephanie, you don't have to be unmuted, so go ahead.
Just a quick note. I think it'd be helpful to understand maybe square footage wise, like what is existing for the play area and what is in the concepts. Because I think when I look at if concept 1 is close to what is existing, that seems like these 3 concepts all kind of keep to the similar square footage. It's just a kind of rejiggering of how those spaces are kind of put together. So that would be really helpful I think for everyone, because I think there are many comments about how it's very play focused, and I wonder if in terms of space that it's not maybe that much different from what's there. That's just my comment.
Thanks, Stephanie. So we have 2 more people who have spoken but would like to speak again. And I think we have enough time. Aaron and Mile, do we is that okay with you? Do you have a lot more? I know we're supposed to stop at 8. We've got 15 more minutes. Are you okay with 2 more people speaking?
Yeah, we could. And then if there are any other people who have not spoken yet, would like to speak, we would highly encourage you to speak or type your comments and feedback. But I will.
Okay, so I only see 2 hands raised, and so we'll go with Zora and then we'll go back to John. So Zora, please go ahead.
I would like to come back to the users of the park. I was very much surprised that so many people enjoy just walking in the park. I have the impression that in these meetings that we have, and even in the surveys, we do have a selection towards people that have more time to attend meetings between 6 and 8 o'clock. I don't think so that we have what I hear. I don't think so. We have so many people that have children, because when I had my children between 6 and 8, that was the most craziest time. That was dinner time. That was whining, and it was I had hands full. So I don't think so. We have too many people that have children in this meeting, and maybe they even do not answer those surveys. So I'm Zoraki Keenis. I'm on the I live next to the park. I have a direct view of the park, and I have a direct view of the playground. The people that I see walking, and this is now my personal, it's my personal opinion. I don't have any statistics. I don't have any survey, but I do not see so many people that just come to walk. I do see many people that come walk the dogs. That's in the morning and in the evening, and I think it's great. I love it. I just wanted to get a feeling who is using the playground. At 10 between 9 and 11 o'clock on the weekdays, there are a lot of daycares coming in. There are maybe 3 groups of children, each group about 12 toddlers. And then there are a few that come with the nannies or so. So there's a bunch. There's a lot of kids using the park. And then the same thing in the afternoon. on the weekend, we do have a lot of families coming. We have a lot of people using the picnic table, and there are a lot of birthdays parties. So there are a lot of visitors to the playground. And so I just wanted to share it because this might not have come out so clearly in the survey.
Thank you, Zora. And John, do you have another comment you'd like to make?
It's actually a little request. I was influenced to change my opinion between option 1, option 2, and option 3 by the public comments that were made. And I would be personally curious to see what a revote between option 1, option 2, and option 3 would yield.
Let me see if I can reset that. I could try that.
Sure. Teresa,
Claire, before.
Sorry, it's just a second, Carol.
Okay.
Teresa has her hand raised, so I'm gonna recognize Teresa, and Carol, then I'll recognize you. Go ahead, Teresa.
Yes, thank you. Just as Erin is maybe resetting the survey, I think it's an interesting idea to re-poll folks as well. I just want to thank Zora for your comments. As a parent of very young children who play in the park regularly, I do think that we should be giving credit to the voice of parents and also caregivers and also daycare workers, whether or not they live in town. I think that it's important to have this park serve the entire community, and that includes people that work in the neighborhood and take kids to the park. So just want to acknowledge that because I heard some statements to the contrary on that. And also, I just think there is a lot of great discussion, and so I appreciate everybody for attending tonight. From my understanding, the purpose of this was to talk about how to replace some of the playground equipment in the park that, quite frankly, cannot go on for another 5 or 7 years. And so I think that's why this conversation has focused on that topic primarily, but I do think it is really helpful to hear the opinions of people that aren't so focused on the playground equipment and want to talk more about the walking path and the trees and the drainage and everything else. So I just want to appreciate those comments, but I think the reason for the focus on the playground is because that is the part that we as a committee have really tried to come together and make a lot of decisions around.
Thanks, Teresa. Carol, can you make it a quick comment, please?
Yes, it is a quick comment. Stephanie mentioned, and I think it was a very good point, that if Erin could I know it won't be exact, but what is the difference in the square footage of the 3 concepts for the playground? I think that's important.
For the safety surface area, is your
Yeah,
asking?
for the area that he is designating for the playground. What is the difference in size of those 3 areas? In concept 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I don't have it right on the top of my head. I would have to get back to you. I cannot give you an accurate number right now.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Erin, could you reset it?
Yes, I could. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take Stephanie, your hand is that a new hand you've raised?
It is. It's just a quick note on the square footage that I think there are 2. There's one like about the actual surface and what is designated, and then there are the interstitial spaces that are like lawn. They're still green, but they kind of belong to the play area. So I would want to see both of those represented.
Thank you, Stephanie. Okay. Erin, I can't vote either because it wouldn't accept my.
So the code is the same if you see it up at the top.
No, I can't get in either.
So maybe people can vote and then we can ask other people to raise their hand to vote to get everybody, okay?
Aaron, do you want me to give you my vote?
Sure. I can't enter it, but
Concept.
we can acknowledge that how many you had.
Concept 3.
Concept 3, okay.
Yeah.
Patricia, you want to call in your vote?
Yes, concept 3.
Does
Okay.
anyone else just want to call out who can't get in technically into the survey? They're welcome to say their name and say their vote. Diana Miller, do you want to say your name and vote? So you have to unmute her.
Oh, sorry. Okay, got it.
Anna Miller, concept 1.
Thank you.
Okay.
Susan Mulsky, can you unmute
Yes.
Susan so she can vote?
Susan Molsky, I vote for concept 1.
Okay. Any
Thank
other?
you.
I'm looking for other hands. And Aaron, I'll vote for concept 3. You didn't get
Okay.
me. Okay.
So add 2 to concept 1 and 3 to concept 3. So it's about the same percentage as it is now.
Okay.
And Naomi is voting for concept 1. Not sure if you got that.
So I think we can safely look at moving forward with refining things, throwing out concept 2, and coming back with some things that are not concept 2.
Okay, great. And Aaron,
Which
and
is-
the next time you'll give sort of, can you make the plans as big as you can? Take up the whole screen so it's easier to read and acknowledge the
Yeah.
rest of the park as well?
Yes, I might do. I think honestly, was laid out with the key and everything. That's about as big as I can make. I may just do blow ups of the park, just to show the rest of it. Just kind of more enlargements.
Or just blow it up without the key and things like that, and you'll just have to explain the key. It's nice to see it as a whole. Says Andrew, do you want to vote or do you, he can't say. You've got to unmute Andrew so he can say if he wants to vote.
Yes, Andrew's unmuted now.
Concept 1, thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. All right. So it is now 7:59. I think we've had a really robust discussion. People are clearly passionate about this park, and it has many, many users and many people who love it. And,
Mealy.
you know, there are different priorities among the different users, how they use it, but hopefully we can satisfy 99.9% of the people to create a park that is how they envision it. So Mealy, do you want to say anything else, or Aaron, do you have any concluding comments?
Yeah, I'd like to just say that thank you again, everyone, for coming today and providing all your valuable feedback. And, you know, all your input and feedback today is going to be very helpful for us, like as we kind of now step back and, you know, get back to the drawing board and start thinking about now how do we incorporate all these like different ideas. And we're very, again, like excited and appreciative of all the comments and feedbacks and your input. And, you know, we're excited to kind of go back and come back with more to share next time.
And Aaron has on the screen his contact information. People who wrote in emails, they were distributed to all the committee members, and they're also on the website. So those are noted as well. And can you take down the screen so we can all say, I don't think we have to have a vote to adjourn, but can we stop? Thank you all. It's just nice to see faces and names. So thank you all very, very much. And we'll see you everyone on September 4th. But in the meantime, what is it, September 4th? I don't want to give the wrong date.
Yes.
Okay.
It is, and I
September.
will not forget it.
Okay, September 4th. And, you know, really do send Aaron comments by email He also does answer his phone, but they'll be in the permanent record if you put them in writing. And Teresa, you have your hand up again.
Yeah, sorry. Just for everybody on the call and for my own knowledge, on September 4th, the purpose will be to have 3 new options perhaps, or 2 or 3 new options. And at that point, the committee will be voting on one of them. Is that the idea?
I think
Aaron,
at this point, I think it'll be new options based on feedback today and some different examples of play equipment. And I don't think we'll be voting on any final option. I don't think at this point we're at the point where I can present a final option that everybody would be on board with. I think it's some refined options, some additional discussion, like from the feedback today, some of the elements that were brought up for the rest of the park, and some of that, and then feedback on that to go then to another meeting in the end of October where things would be more refined.
Okay, thank you.
thanks, everyone. See you on September 4th.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.